Good morning. How's everybody today? It's Tuesday again. My name's Tamara Grant. I'm inviting my co-host.
And you guys are with us for episode 32. Can you believe it? Of No Brush Required. How are you today? Everybody feeling good? I'm cold, can you tell? It was snowy this morning, not right at my house, but the forecast was for snow today up the hill. And it was kind of slushy on the windshield, and it's kind of cold in the house. Barb, where are you? Happy to see you, Laura. Hey, Douglas, good morning. Hello, Jean Marie. Barbara's going to leave me hanging. I hope not. I hope she comes right on. Let me try her one more time. Where are you, Danielle? Where is it beautiful? Hello, Barb. Barb, I invited you twice. What's going on? Let's invite you again. See if that happens. Hello. Is it Brenda? Barb is unable to join. Uh-oh. Check your connection, Barb. See if I can get you here. Hello, Boomika. Let's accept her that way and see if it works. From Toronto. Oh, yeah, we get the opposite of you guys. Last week you had snow and we were warm. Now we're not warm. Hey.
Hi. I sent you a request to join and you didn't get that, or you did get that?
No, I just replied. That's how I got you on. I invited you 3 times.
Oh, I didn't. I just got nothing. So
every week it's something new on here.
It is never a dull moment.
I know. How you doing?
Not bad. Okay. I don't know if people know, but I've been dealing with COVID these past, I guess, 5 or 6 days. And that's not a different experience for sure. So
yeah, you sound a little stuffy.
Yeah, so I've got my lozenges, okay, and I've got my box of Kleenex. So I mean, basically, it's been like a cold for me.
Yeah.
But I can't go out. So
yeah.
so
I don't know what it's like where you are, but it feels like it's everywhere. Like everybody knows somebody who has it, and everybody's had their vaccinations, and it doesn't seem to matter anymore. So
it doesn't. Roman got it ahead of me. He was about 5 days ahead of me. He's good now, so I'm hoping by the weekend I'm released into the wild again. So
so it's his fault. We did that at our house when we had it. We traced it back to who brought it in the house. Who was the infector?
Oh, we wouldn't have known. But I mean, last week I missed because my mom ended up going in the hospital. She's still there, but we thought, okay, if we're going to go visit mom, we should probably do rapid tests. And Roman had a cold, so that's how we found out. Otherwise,
wow.
We just would have thought, oh, it's just, a cold, which we normally would get.
Yeah, so, exactly. Well, I'm glad you're feeling a little better. And Lisa's asking, is your mom okay? People were asking if your mom's okay.
Yeah, mom is actually health-wise is doing fine, but they're keeping her in the hospital just to assess her to see if she's okay to go back to her retirement home. She's no longer mobile, so there's a big question mark hanging. So we'll see. But she's very happy. They love her there at Joseph Brand Hospital. She's probably the sweetest lady they have there. Just so appreciative. Doesn't really know where she is, but as soon as one of us is able to go see her, we'll go and then let my siblings know, because we're all over the place. I have 2 sisters out in Victoria, BC. I've got a brother right now who's down in Florida, another one who's like a 3-hour drive away. So we're the closest. So hopefully maybe Roman can get over there. Anyways, enough about me.
Well, I'm glad to see you back. It's great.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Well, you missed last week. We chatted with Fiona Cant and we had a lovely conversation. And this week we're chatting with another British artist. It's like 3 weeks in a row we have UK-based artists. And we're going to be chatting today with Gabriella Buckingham, who many of you will know. I'll do a quick intro and then I'll pull her on. So Gabriella and I think we met through Connected Artists. She can correct me if I'm wrong when she pops on here. She has been an artist, I think, for most of her life, working in a bunch of different areas in graphic design and most recently in sort of abstract still life. And she has a couple of courses coming up that she's going to talk to us about today, amongst other things, because we have so many things that we could chat with her about. So I am going to grab Gabriella and we'll find out if we can call her Gabby.
We're not sure, are we?
Sure. We weren't sure. Gabriella, you're going to pop on in just a second. Say hello. Have you two met before?
Only on here.
Hello. Sorry, I've got the camera around the wrong way. I'm so sorry. I'm not sure what to do. Let me see.
There should be like
a strange. Hang on. There we are.
Icon.
Phew. Hello.
Two arrows.
Great
there
start.
Hi.
Hi, Bob. Hi, Tamara.
How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes. But we met, Gabriella, you popped on. I can't remember during which
how strange.
episode we were doing.
My connection's not.
Yeah, your connection's a little dodgy today, it looks like. You're circling, you're spinning, circling. Closer to the router?
I've got my Ethernet plugged in, so I don't know why.
Comes and goes sometimes.
Let me try mobile data.
Okay.
Hey, we're used to this.
Sorry.
We are.
We're so used to this. And the fact that we've got somebody on from the UK is a miracle in itself.
I know. The magic, the modern magic of technology and the internet. Well, while we're waiting, so I'll tell them a little bit about the course I'll introduce your course, Gabriella, and then you can talk about it a bit more. But Gabriella, I think for the first time last year, taught a free intro course to a longer course combining her approaches to abstract art and still life. And I took that intro course, the little free one. Whoop, she's gone. I'll have to grab her back again. That's okay. We'll grab her again. We'll send her another invite.
So you took the course last year?
I took the free course because I'm always up to learning some new techniques. Because I've never thought about painting still life, and in a traditional sense, that wasn't a huge interest in me. But I love the way she combines that with the abstract backgrounds and the use of color and light and everything. And so
her color is magical.
It's absolutely brilliant. Yes,
I hope she heard that. Sorry, I'm all squirmy today because I got a stool here, and I'm trying. I normally don't have a stool.
I'm trying to get her back on. Come on, Gabriella. Oh, hopefully this works. Oh,
there
she is. And her
Can you see me?
The wrong way.
Yes.
I think, is that all right? Phew,
yes.
I'm so sorry. I think it was my connector just wasn't strong enough, but it's all right now. Phew.
It happens. Okay. We're just talking about how magical your color palettes are.
Oh, thank you very much.
And actually,
I try my best.
Seeing your red with that lovely pale pink behind you, that kind of is, indicative of the colors that you mix together in a really unique way. So, well done with the styling. We're all in gray, though.
We're in gray and gold.
Yeah. I've got clashing green behind me here as well.
Perfect. You look like a Christmas tree.
Complementary colors.
So we gave a little introduction while you were technologically disabled.
Thank you. Thank you.
Maybe what we can do is usually we talked a little bit about connections and how we know you, and you and I think met through Al Sheridan's Connected Artist group, and just kind of interacted online. And I took your free course last year, which was brilliant and got me thinking about things in a new way. So we'll get onto that, I guess, in just a couple minutes. But I thought maybe we usually start by asking you to give us a little bit of backstory. So I know you started in graphic design, but how'd you get from there to here?
Right. Yeah, long story. It's a long time. I left art college in 1990 and I did graphic design degree, but I specialized in illustration. So I started out by painting romantic fiction, so figurative work. And I did covers for a magazine that doesn't exist anymore called My Weekly, which people in England might remember. And I think People's Friend, I'm not sure if that exists anymore. So I did lots and lots of romantic fiction. I did still life, but for magazines, for editorial. And I think my first ever magazine illustration was for Homes and Gardens, again, a British magazine.
Yeah.
So that's how I started out. And then I seemed to fall into being employed as a Christmas artist for about 3 years. So I worked in a place called Hatfield in the UK. And I used to go to work 9 to 5 in an enormous warehouse. And I just created Christmas cards for Tesco's, Sainsbury's, Waitrose, all sorts of different places. And then I became a product manager for a couple of years. Yeah, commissioning other artists. So I did that. And then I went back to illustration and started working in greeting cards and children's books. So that's it, really. And then I started a business called Mubar Cluck, which was children's gifts. So I started to do that, and that was all personalised, hand painted wooden things. So.
And is that still going on today? Do you still do that?
Not exactly. There's a couple of wooden items that I do. At Christmas time, I do wooden mistletoe, which I hand paint, and then obviously people buy those as decorations. So I do that. But other than that, I have a business called A Place of Wonder, which is on notonthehighstreet.com, which is where I sell those and a few other paintings.
Wow.
So that's your business?
Yeah, that's one of my things I do. I also teach on Skillshare, and I do pet portraits from time to time as well, which you may have seen last year.
Week.
Yeah, you have different things. Yeah, last week.
You are busy. You've got on the go.
Little things.
So
they all add up.
You are a full-time working artist.
Yeah. I am, yes. But I did have a time where I worked in a supermarket as well, and there's no shame in that. And that's something that I'm, keen to say to other artists, because I know that feeling of I really want to be a full-time artist, but the main thing is you need to support yourself whilst you're doing that, don't you, to develop. So
absolutely. So what initiated the shift from the figurative work, the greeting card work, to more abstraction?
It's quite gradual, actually. I've always done still life work in the background just for myself. And the older I get, the more I'm drawn to abstract work. I wouldn't say I'm purely abstract. A few of my latest pieces are. I've started doing a whole selection of abstract landscapes, but on quite a small scale for the most part. I seem to be getting larger now with my still life work, but I have a lot. I at some point I want to sort of merge the two, if that makes sense. Not necessarily not landscape and still life, but the way that I approach them. So that's my aim, getting larger and larger as well. So.
Can I jump into a question? When you said still life, so are you actually setting up a still life in your studio and painting that, or is this all out of your imagination?
Well, that is a really interesting question, because that is what I do on experimental still life. I try all sorts of different ways of painting still life, because that's what interests me. I am trying to discover exactly what appeals to me most. So when I teach other people, I'm going through it with them. So we're exploring exactly that, because I have several paintings that are purely intuitive and imagined, and inevitably they're a little bit more simple than something that's observed, because I always find I notice the way colours interact and just the detail, and I end up getting tighter and tighter if I'm not careful. So that's the challenge for me, if I'm painting from life, is not to get too photorealistic, because I can paint like that if I spend enough time doing that, but that's not the way I want to go.
Right,
so
right.
That answers the question.
I totally get that, because as soon as you have a reference, all of a sudden it's almost like you're committed to that reference, and it's hard to just kind of say, okay, I'll start with that as a jumping off, but I'm going to put it aside. So I love that you do a lot of this intuitively, just from your observations.
Yeah, and I love it. I love the variety, and one day perhaps I will settle down and stick with one thing, but I'm enjoying the journey. I love it. Yeah, exactly.
No need.
We are all more than one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, and I find your work very whimsical, and I feel like whimsical and nostalgic at the same time. You know, if that makes any sense. But and I find if it were more realistic, more photorealistic, you would lose that sense of kind of whimsy and lightheartedness that you get across so well.
They're almost
That's a
dreamlike.
great point.
Yeah.
Yes, I love the unseen, and yeah, that's one of the things that I've realised through doing my latest collection, which actually was Intuitive Landscape, is that I'm so interested in the spiritual and what you can't see and the feeling of being in a place. And it's the same with still life, the feeling that you're trying to convey. You know, is it a nighttime scene? Is there an air of mystery, or is it bright and light and sunny and happy? You know, what is it you're trying to convey with your work, no matter what the subject? So
No,
that's
and I
kind
love
of
it. And
sorry.
your main themes in your still life, they tend to be vessels, vases, flowers, things that we can all recognize, right? So our brains already
Yeah.
know what to make of it before we kind of interact with the painting.
Yes, pretty much. Although, as I say, I feel as if the ideal painting for me would be one where you can recognize elements, but the other elements you have to work a little bit harder. So that's what I'm aiming towards in my still life course. I will be going through from more realistic work and trying experimenting with lots of different ways of tackling still life, through to much more abstract towards the end of the course. So that's what I'm going to be doing.
Exciting.
Excellent. So do you want to tell us about the free course first? Because that's what comes first,
yeah,
right?
sure. Yeah, that's in just under a month. So 4 weeks time. So it'll be Wednesday the 11th it starts, but there's some pre-work before on that, which drops into the course on May the 1st. I'm being very precise here.
You are. And
the course is called Discover Your Art.
Perfect.
Discover Your Art. Yeah. So it's just 5 days of me coming on live and showing you how I paint. And I mean, I've got a specific plan. And the first session is going to be all about the ingredients of an artist, and then with the pre-work, there'll be some colour work so that you're all ready to go from then. So.
Right. Is it different from last year? Have you built, because last year was the first time you offered it, right?
Yeah. It's loosely similar. I would say that. So I think if you did it again, you'd probably still enjoy it. Put it that way.
Yeah. Well, you probably learned a lot the first time you offer anything. You learn a lot in the process, right? That you can't always predict how it's going to go.
Exactly. And I do love to paint spontaneously. So that's part of the adventure of it.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's was my favorite part, is I love to watch other people paint.
Yes.
Because it's just, it opens your eyes in a way that just seeing their work doesn't, or seeing someone talk about their work doesn't. But I love how you make your decisions as you're going, and you were talking us through the things that you were doing, and even when things didn't go well, we could see that, you would tell us, that didn't go
I don't
well.
hold back. That's the thing, yeah. I use StreamYard, so I'm able to, I have the camera is obviously overhead, but then I have my screen is just here, so I look from time to time over and see what people are asking me, so I'm able to break off and answer questions. So that's really valuable, I think. That's the feedback I've had.
Right.
Well, you're getting some great comments here.
You are. You're so generous. People say it would be silly to miss your course, and you're so generous.
Was daft.
Daft.
I love that.
Oh, that's fantastic. I saw my husband sneak on
before
everything went tits up, as they say in America, in the UK. Oh dear! I just thought he will be just going, oh. Anyway,
he's cheering you on, probably.
Yes.
So who's the course for? Who's your audience?
Right. I would say it's perfect for somebody who has started painting, but maybe is a bit tentative, or stuck or bored. So obviously you're having me telling you what to do, but I'm also encouraging you with Discover Your Art. Even though I'm using still life as my subject, I really want people to, and this is what the pre-work's about, is to really think about what it is exactly they want to achieve. So for example, it might be that somebody wants to do more abstract work, but the colour work that we're going to be doing and the inspiration wall work that we're going to be doing before we even start is going to help people focus on the area they want to work in, and then adapt the exercises that I come up with to their particular subject matter, or whatever they want to explore. And then obviously I'm there in the Facebook group that I've got set up to help if anybody's stuck or wants my opinion on composition or something like that. So it's very interactive.
That's brilliant.
I'm intrigued by it. You said the pre-work before the course actually starts. Can you give us a little peek at what that might look like without giving away everything? But
Sure. Well, that's why I mentioned May the 1st, because I've just got that in my head that I have to have everything ready for that so that I can upload those particular lessons, because there's a whole mini class, if you like, which for everybody to watch as part of the pre-work, so that they can watch that, and hopefully that will inspire a certain exercise so that you're ready for when we come together on May the 11th. So there's plenty of time to kind of warm up.
Yeah. So it's like front loading some of the essentials of the program so that everybody
exactly.
That's a great idea too. That's a really great idea.
It is, because some of us don't like to take a course unless we know exactly what the curriculum is ahead of time.
I'm
sure.
Yes, and
that's so
interesting. I walk into my classes when I teach, and I'm like, this is the outline for today. And some people don't care, but some people really like to know that ahead of time, because they can see where they're going to go. They can imagine it. So
thank you.
Bravo. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Good teaching practice, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm not a trained teacher, but I've been told that I'm a good teacher by people who've taken my classes. So I am, fingers crossed. I cater for everyone.
Well, yeah, and you know what? You're gentle, you're humorous, you're very real. I found you're very approachable with people, and that's a challenge especially if you're dealing with people who are new at art, because they might feel intimidated if you didn't have all those characteristics, which you do.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Tamara. Thank you. I've been practicing your name, Tamara, to say it in the Canadian.
So well there. You did so well. I'm not going to say where you're from, because I might say it the wrong way again.
Where
Norfolk in the UK. Sorry, I'm kind of speaking.
I want to see what auto captions says about that. When the captions go on, I want to see what it says.
Norfolk.
Lovely. Yes, it's so funny. I've just seen a lovely comment from Lucy Rogers Smith, a friend of mine. She says, "I give my all." So that's thank you, Lucy.
You absolutely do. And then so after the 5-day, then you have we did have a question from Daniela. She said, "Can you provide all the details?" Daniela, on the show notes afterwards, I will put Gabriella's Instagram handle. I'll link up the name of the course, and you'll be able to find it all there when you see the replay. So have no fear. If it flies by too quickly, it's all going to be there for you. We've got you.
Lovely, thanks.
Very cool.
The course that follows, it's a longer course, presumably.
Yeah, it is. Yes, I say in the bump that it's for 6 weeks, but it may go on for 7, because I know what I'm like, and I really would like to make sure everybody's okay. So probably the last week, it will be a case of I finished doing my lives, other than Q&A and maybe coming into the Facebook group and helping out anybody that needs any help. But essentially, it's running from May the 23rd to July the 1st, and then a little bit longer if need be. So.
And is it an extension of the free course, or so do people need to take the free course to be able to fit in and jump into the full course, or is it a little bit different?
No. They don't need to. What will happen though is that the free course will be in the main course, just so that people can revisit it, and that will be there in that gap where that phrase "cart is open." So somebody buys my course on the 15th, they can go back through the information, and so that's there. So it's helpful, but it's certainly not essential, no, because we'll be going through composition and values and all the absolute essentials to really create strong work right at the start, and then we'll be getting into the experimental work, doing a little bit of a week that I call Everyone Can Paint a Lemon, which is where we will actually be using actual things to look at, to paint from, and then we'll be moving into the abstract. So that's it essentially, but there'll be lots of other little bits in there.
Right.
So I have to ask, what inspired you to start teaching online like this?
Well, it was very gradual, because I have got some classes on Skillshare, and I started that maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. So if you go there, if you're a Skillshare user, you will see me with brown hair.
Yeah, we all very have brown hair.
Yeah. And very, very loud. There's one particular I teach where I've got a bright green dress on with enormous, enormous bright flowers. And I look back now, and I remember I went to London in that dress one day, and everybody was staring at me. I mean, yes, quite. I don't think I'd wear that now. I have still got it though, so perhaps part of me might.
Yeah.
One day. Yeah. So anyway, I didn't really answer the question, but that's.
Do you find that the teaching informs your own work? I like to ask this of people who teach classes, because it has to be a two-way street. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to maintain the enthusiasm and for being an adult educator.
Yes, absolutely. It really does. And I mean, I get so much from it. It's so delightful to know for sure that you're helping people. I mean, obviously there are going to be some people who maybe don't have time to go through the course for whatever reason. So obviously I can't help them, but for the most part, it's just so great to know that you've made a difference. It really is. So that is the best thing about it. But yes, obviously I start to really assess my own work as I go. Definitely. It really
also
helps.
probably gets you to kind of break down what you're doing. It's a great it's a great reason to self-reflect on your own process, and could you share that, teach that to somebody else? So it's a great thing to go through.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Is it terrifying to paint live? Like I videotape myself
sometimes
and commission work. I give commission clients sometimes videos of what I've done, but to do it live when you can't edit.
Yeah, it's what I found the hardest is painting large live. That's the hardest thing, because obviously that takes so much more anyway, because the sheer physicality of it and covering so much distance. Or covering so much space, if you like. So that is a challenge. And my students last year, they all saw me probably get three quarters of the way through a painting, and then the next day say to them, I don't like it, and I covered it all in blue out on camera. But I really wanted to do that, and they appreciated it. And they said, oh my gosh, sometimes it really doesn't work for you. And I said, absolutely it doesn't. I maybe not 50-50, but quite a huge percentage of my work I feel is a struggle. Sometimes it doesn't work. I've got half a garage full of paintings that well, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but I've got, I don't know, 10 or 12 canvases that are works in progress, and they're more like sketch paintings, I would say, where I'm learning all the time. So.
I just find there's a lot of standing around and staring time when I paint.
Well,
I don't
yes,
think people
there
want
is
to watch
that.
in the back of my head, like a lot of pausing and walking away and that kind of thing that goes on.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a comment.
Can you read it, Barb?
You're very brave and real, and therefore encouraging to others. You've helped so many people come out of their shells with a nice kiss.
Oh, thank you.
That's really sweet.
Well,
like the last couple of years that we've been through, I think a lot of people have gravitated towards more online, and this is a great way for you to connect with people all over the world. Right? Completely.
I sometimes feel, in fact, I said to my family the other day that my life is kind of online more than it is in real life. Certainly in the last 2 years, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is my life, really.
Yeah.
Well, for a lot of us.
Ooh, that sounds really sad. It's not.
No, it's not.
Well, you have to look at the bright side of it. It allows for these kinds of connections to happen. Like Barbara and I met online. Right? That's how we created our friendship. So.
And do you live near each other? Do you see each other in real life? No.
Never.
No, we're on the opposite sides of Canada. Excuse me.
Oh, you must meet one day. I guess you plan to one day.
We are meeting up at Rob Zott's workshop in September.
In New York City.
In New York City.
Oh my gosh. I've been to New York twice. I love it. Oh, actually, maybe it's the food I love. I mean, the huge portions. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so a lot of these kind of like virtual friendships become like face-to-face friendships, and that's the beauty of it, right?
Yes. Oh, we got asked,
Yeah.
what's your story as an artist? How did your path begin? We
Ooh.
talked a little bit about that, but you could go right back to the beginning if you'd like.
hmm Well, do you know what? I can't remember a lot about when I was a child in that sense. I remember, funnily enough, I have a very clear memory of pretending to teach, which is
Yes.
I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah.
I'm the oldest child. I've got two younger brothers, and I remember parking my baby brother
Yeah.
in his nappy in front of me and my toddler other brother, middle brother, and standing up in front of this massive chalkboard, which was in an outbuilding in our garden. And I don't know, I think I probably did simple maths or something, 2+2, because maths is not my strong point. But anyway, so that I used to draw on the chalkboard. But other than that, I don't remember a lot about art until I got into secondary school. And that is when I really blossomed. And it was my top subject. And I got the art prize in my school and that sort of thing. So it was always my talent, the thing that I loved most. I never had any doubt that I would ever be an artist. I always knew from really small, I am going to be an artist. I felt that, you know, how or what, in what way, I don't know. But my dad loves art. And so I was surrounded by paintings when I was a child. So that was really important to me. And I also went to France when I was 13 for a French exchange and went to Paris, and I saw Monet's water lilies, and I mean, I'm very boring. I loved post-impressionism and impressionism when I was a little child, and that's what went into my head. You know, I wasn't really one to be attracted to conceptual art particularly. That's something that's starting to appeal to me more now, but yeah, that's where it came from. And then I thought, how can I earn money, before I decided on a degree, and thought, oh, graphic designers earn money, don't they? But I never became a graphic designer. I didn't do it. So
We know so many artists who were graphic designers.
Yeah.
Yes, I was an illustrator. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
clearly.
Yeah.
And you got to do Christmas all year round.
Yeah, for 3 years. Yes.
For 3 years.
Wrapping paper, all sorts.
I think that would be ideal.
It was fun.
I think illustrating children's books would be fabulous. I mean, we have a huge children's book collection in my house. My husband loved them from the time my kids were toddlers, and has held on to them, even though now they're adults. We still have a lot of the children's books that he purchased because he liked the art in them.
Mm-hmm.
So
makes no sense. I used to love Richard Scarry. I don't know if you've heard of him, or Richard Scarry.
Yeah.
You remember him?
Yes.
I've still got one of those books. I think I bought it from eBay because it's just so nostalgic.
Yeah.
I love it, and that, in fact, it's got French words in it. That's why I liked it, because it was a way I thought I could use that to encourage my children to learn French, but I don't think they were that interested. So anyway.
Yeah.
I suspect a lot of people were inspired to become artists based on the children's books that they read and the illustrations that they saw, because I remember that vividly growing up.
Definitely.
Such an impact. So.
Well, and Barb and I were just talking this morning because she put a picture of close-up of a painting that had a little a collage piece that was fairies from a children's story, and I'm sure I know that book. I can't. It doesn't come to my mind right now, but I right away I'm like, those are fairies. I've seen that before.
Yeah, and that book I think was from actually the late 1800s that I took that picture out of. But the the drawings are just so much a part of who we are, and seeing those.
Yes, and Eric Carle, of course. Eric Carle was always my favorite when my kids were little, for sure. And Leo Leone, lots of great ones.
Did he do the Hungry Caterpillar?
Yes.
Was it him? Yeah.
Who did the Madeline books? Remember the Madeline books?
Yep. It's going to come to me.
French.
It's a French. L'Anglaire. I can't remember the name. Somebody will remember who did Madeline. We loved Madeline too, for sure.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a little orphan just like her and wear one of those big hats and stand in line and walk. I love those.
Well, and you know who else I really loved was Roald Dahl.
Yes.
He had great character, like the BFG, the drawings of him, and they were great. Yeah. Really fun.
James and the Giant Peach, I remember.
Yes.
That one I loved. It was so kind of creepy in a way. Creepy.
All of them are a little
Yeah.
creepy.
They all are
Yeah.
creepy.
They're a
Yeah,
little-
that's true, actually. Yeah.
I think he has some childhood issues, so
Yeah.
Yeah, I should think so. Hmm.
Oh,
Pippi
Pippi
Longstocking.
Longstocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and Gabrielle, I think you were willing to take some questions about your courses. So if anybody has any questions
Oh, yeah,
about the upcoming
absolutely.
courses, they could feel free to drop those in the comment box or ask a question in the question sticker. I wanted to ask you about something. So when you started talking about how you're moving into more you've recently been doing this landscape work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, do you think that's related to having taken up running recently and being out in your landscape so much?
That's a great
Goodness
question.
me. Do you know, I hadn't actually thought about that, but I certainly have noticed recently, I think, oh, wow, what a view. Oh, wow, what a view. Just because the weather's been so fantastic. And yes, I've stopped. I've stopped my running just to, paused it and taken photographs of the views. Yeah, and and it will. It gets me excited. Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
There you go.
I would
Sorry,
say.
you
Yes.
got to back up a little. Tell us more about your running. Is this like, are you a long distance runner, or are you like?
Oh gosh, no. The furthest I've been is 6K, but Tamara has been fantastic. She's been saying, "Well done," in behind the scenes when I've gone out for a run. She's spotted, and I really appreciate that. So that helps me keep going. So
Excellent.
Oh, good for you.
Excellent.
You.
I just think that anybody who gets out and gets started moving again and is trying to make a habit of it, you just have to, everybody needs a little applause behind the scene because it's hard.
oh,
It's a
yeah,
hard thing to
got to
do.
go tomorrow. I should have gone today, didn't today, but I will tomorrow. I was meant to actually have my hair cut today, but my poor hairdresser has got COVID. Sorry to hear you have, Barb. And so I just thought, well, I will paint, and I won't get all hot and sweaty because I was too lazy to go and wash my hair, so it's just gone up. So I just paint today. So I just did scribbly painting, which was lovely. I haven't done that for ages. So
Well, that
really
was a
nice.
gift then. That was a gift of a day to you, right?
It really was. Yeah.
Absolutely. You just got a hello from a Monica. Do you know Monica?
Hi, Monica. Yes, I do. Hi. She's one of my students from last year.
Do you have any questions, Monica? Gabriella's really been gracious enough to answer questions if you have any about her upcoming course. So again, the course is called Discover Your Art, and that's 5 days. And then the second course that you pay for, that's 7 to 8 weeks, question mark, it's called Experimental Still Life, right?
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you also have a Facebook group. Is your Facebook group still Brave in Paint?
That is kind of dormant right now.
Okay.
Because I've discovered. That's fine. That's fine. It's still there, but it's dormant. There is a Facebook group, but there's an explanation for all that when people sign up for Discover Your Art at braveinpaint.com. They can sign up for that, and then they get all the information about exactly how everything's going to happen, and how to join the Facebook group for the course, for the free course.
Okay, well, I'll make sure that link goes up. So other than so right now, I'm assuming for the next couple months, you're going to be really busy with coursework. You won't have as much time to be painting or any exhibitions coming up this year?
Well, let me think. I have, in a way, if you call an art fair an exhibition, I'm going to be doing Manchester Art Fair in the autumn, winter, and I'm going down to Kent in a week or so to a gallery who's just approached me, which is lovely. So I'm going to be taking a lot of my abstract landscapes to the gallery.
Nice.
And I'm also going to be doing open studios in October.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that I will get a little bit of summertime off to indulge in my painting and travel around and do more exercise.
Right.
Maybe even on holiday. That would be lovely. So
that sounds good. Well, and some of the painting you do in the course live, you never know where that's going to end up, right?
Exactly.
This could be starts for things.
I sold some last year. In fact, a couple of students bought some pieces, which was really nice.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to ask
great.
the square or rectangle question.
Square or rectangle? Oh, okay, right, yes, for the painting. Well, for the last few years, square, but I just hesitated today, funnily enough. I was going to put in an order for some square canvases, and something stopped me, and I thought, hang on a minute. I feel like I want to start working in rectangles. So there's your answer.
Deal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So I haven't ordered any, but I have got a few. But I've still got lots of squares to use, so I have to be patient. I
And
think.
are you a wood or a canvas person?
Oh gosh, that's hard. I think on balance, wood. Certainly if I'm working small, wood. I'm reserving judgment, but at the moment I would say wood. Yes.
Mhm.
Because I like the fact that I could sand things down
Yeah.
without that worry of whether the wooden battens at the back
Yes. You
affect the
get
front.
the
It's so hard.
ghost marks of
Yeah, exactly. You don't want that. So
no.
Well,
No.
if you like the rectangles, you'll have to follow what Barb's been doing with her extreme rectangles.
Yeah. The only rectangles I like
okay.
are the long, skinny ones. If you
Long
can
things.
make, like a 18 by 24 or whatever, I am paralyzed. Look at it and I go, I don't know what to do with it. But
Yeah.
long and
That's so
skinny.
interesting. Yeah,
There's
because I've got a long, narrow one, which I found quite a challenge. So well done you for being able to use them.
I love them, and now I can't stop. It's just a matter of space, right?
I
But
almost wonder if the vertical orientation that you're doing them in is easier for your brain to grasp than a long, skinny landscape.
I don't know.
Have you tried? How do you paint them? Do you paint them vertical or horizontal?
I paint them in all
Right?
orientations. So there
Okay.
goes your theory.
Okay.
But no,
Wow.
I literally paint them. I lay them flat and look at them horizontally and work this way, and then I put them vertical and I work that way, and then I flip them and they hit the ceiling every time. Flip them. And then,
Are you leaving blue marks on your ceiling?
Oh, one
That's
of
so
the
funny.
days is going to be bad. Because it's so automatic. I don't know if you do this, Gabriella. I rotate work constantly, and it's
I do.
It's almost like I've got this internal stopwatch, and it's like every 15 minutes those things get rotated.
That's great. I mean, you can only do that up to a point with still life, obviously, because you have to make a decision. But up until then, yes, I do, but nowhere near as much as you. And I haven't hit the ceiling.
Not yet.
Do you ever dent them?
Not yet.
No. Good.
But the ones I've been using, the really tall ones, are canvas, and so the edges, the corners are a little more rounded. If I was using wood and whacked our ceiling, I would have roamed with the polyfill trying to repair all kinds of gouges.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, we had a are wonder if are we giving a plug to someone, like someone you're related to if you answer? Your website is beautiful. Who does your photography?
Ah, right. Well, it's a mixture. Okay. Recently, my husband, Tony Buckingham, I think it's Tony_Buckingham.
Yeah.
Lovely man. He may still be here. I don't know. He could be watching football. Anyway, I was going to say something then, but I digress. Yes, he took some of my paintings, photographs recently, but I do love taking my own photographs. This is the thing. And there are probably a lot of people out there who'd be saying, why do you do that? But often I just really want to take a photograph when I want to take a photograph, and he's not necessarily around. Yeah, and I like to do it. So I asked him specifically recently to take some photographs on our blue background in our living room. So he did that for me, which was a huge help, because then I just had to sit there and then upload eight photos per artwork.
Well, so, he's got all the lights, and he knows exactly where to shoot the photos, right?
Yeah, I couldn't have done that, because I like to use natural light in here, in my tiny studio, and I set things up and try and paint with white paint and paint the walls to make sure there aren't any marks and things like that, and then I have my tripod and I do it myself.
But yes, there's the answer to the question that just popped up. What kind of lighting do you use when you're taking pictures of your artwork? Natural lighting as best you can.
Natural lighting, wherever I can. But the paintings that are on a blue background on my website are all fake light, artificial light, that's the right word. And my husband Tony knows what he's doing, as far as that's concerned.
That would be tricky, because it does change the color a bit.
Yeah, it does. It's
shadows,
tricky.
Past shadows, and has to be right. You're lucky. Yeah. Have a photographer.
You are.
I am. I'm very lucky.
Oh, Douglas has a question for you. Do you listen to anything while painting? Music, podcasts? No brush required.
Of course, no brush required. If I do night painting. I sometimes listen to Art Juice,
Mm.
the podcast, and I also listen to Radio 4 when it's not too miserable. I really, from the time of COVID, I really cut right back on listening to the radio, just because it keeps me in my own bubble,
Yeah.
really. And recently, I've really been painting a lot in silence, which is lovely. Because I mean, everybody knows who's done my courses knows that I am surrounded by birds. So there's a lovely, lovely sound of birdsong all the time. So if I really, really am feeling great, then I will probably paint in silence. Sometimes if I'm feeling tired, I might put on some wild music. Well, I'll put Radio 6 on, actually, and that'll get me really going and brings my energy back up. And actually, I really love that. But I forget, I love music, but I'm not one of those people that has to listen to music all the time. And if you ask me what kind of music I like, I'm a bit stumped because there's so many different things. And I love to dance to music, and I can dance for ages if I get in the mood. But obviously when you're painting, you're concentrating on the painting.
Yeah.
So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. No, and it depends too on where you are in the process, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if you're just if I'm painting backgrounds intuitively, I can listen to music. That's not a problem. And I can listen to voices. But if I'm starting to make decisions, I don't want to hear anybody's voice.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
podcast.
absolutely.
Yeah. Podcast can throw me right off.
Or, well, sometimes
Yes.
you'll put a podcast on and you'll come to the end of it and you'll be like, I didn't hear a word they said.
No,
Exactly.
nothing gets
So
in.
what's the point? Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like
Just like, oh, what's that noise? Turn it off. Turn it off.
Yeah,
voices can be irritating when you're painting.
Yeah.
this is true.
Yeah.
This is especially the ones in your head.
Especially I was
Oh,
painting
that's
to
the thing.
Marilyn Manson the other day. Like that was a switch for me. No,
What did
Marilyn
you say?
Manson. I was painting to
You were?
Marilyn Manson. Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Wow.
I
That's,
know.
yeah.
But I was fading, right? So I thought I need something that's just gonna wake me up big time.
I
Like
want
an
to see the painting.
espresso to the brain.
I want to see the painting.
A lot of
okay.
a lot of the really gentle
Cool.
totems that I've been doing. I've been listening to really, really rocky music. And like I said, a lot of Marilyn Manson. So it's almost like it creates the opposite effect on the canvas. But for me personally, it just,
How interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe
Maybe it's COVID.
Feeding both sides of you.
Yeah.
Aren't you?
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I advocate talking to yourself because that's what I do a lot. I think there's no shame in it at all. I really do.
No, that's self-talk. Athletes do it, right? And you almost can rehearse what you want to do orally.
I do it, but it's in my head.
You keep it in your head? Let it out.
It's 24/7 in there.
Do you ever get a song stuck in your...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. What do they call those? Earworms?
Yeah.
All the time. All the time. So any psychologists out there, you can start psychoanalyzing this.
Yeah. And when my kids were little, they would like to plant earworms. They would know that there'd be a song that once you got it in your head, you couldn't get rid of it. They'd tell you, and I'm not telling you what they are because I don't want to ruin the rest of your day.
No,
because it will. The power of suggestion.
So Gabriella, where can people find you? Instagram,
they can find me at Gabriella Buckingham. It's really easy, all one word. Well, 2 words, but in one. Yeah.
Gotcha.
They can find me there, and they can find me on Facebook at Gabriella Buckingham Art.
Okay.
That's my Facebook page, and bravenpaint.com, which is where all my courses are hosted.
Okay. Good. I will link that one up. That's an important one, and then I'll put a link to your Instagram so that people can find you there too.
Thank you.
See all your beautiful
That's
work.
lovely.
Absolutely.
Thanks very much. I've really enjoyed it. I'm so sorry about the beginning, but what can I say?
Hey, Holly, just carry on. It's technology. It's not always our friend.
But it all works out. It always works out.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I guess we had no more questions. So that's today. We're calling it Tuesday.
That's a wrap.
Thank you.
That's a wrap.
Bye.
Right. Bye. Take care.
Thank you for coming on,
You
Gabrielle.
Thank
Love
you so
your
much.
chat.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Well, everybody.